Daniel was talking about the books of condolence. St James's Palace in London, Holyrood House in Edinburgh, and also at Sandringham, if you want to pay your respects there. Now let's talk to our royal correspondent Jenny Bond, who's with us in the studio. Jenny, we were hearing from Cloisters a few moments ago that Prince Charles has left there, cut short his skiing holiday with his sons. When are we expecting him to arrive, and what happens next?
Well, it'll be sort of mid to late morning, I suppose, by the time they get here. I think he's probably going to want to go straight to Windsor, quite understandably, to be with the rest of the royal family there, many of them there now. He heard this news when he was out skiing. They delayed broadcasting the news to us until they were quite certain he knew. And I'm told he'd literally just walked through the doors of the hotel in Cloisters, and the call came through from the Queen herself. And Charles was terribly upset. I mean, they were very, very close. The Queen Mother and Prince Charles. The boys, William and Harry, are said to be okay. As someone said to me this morning, they have been through so much. Death is sadly no stranger to them.
Indeed. So I should point out that some of the emails we're getting this morning have been very sad and reflective on the Queen Mother's life. Not all of them, though. John says it's sad the Queen Mother has died on the grounds that the family have lost a loved one, but she lived a life of extraordinary privilege and excess, and that view reflected by quite a number of people. And it's impossible, really, to gauge the nation's mood this morning, isn't it?
I think that's going to be very interesting over the next 9 days. It's true, she was a very extravagant woman. She had no idea, really, of the value of money. And she loved to have her champagne and her servants. She lived in a grand style. She was used to a grand style. It's no secret that years ago she didn't really want to move to Clarence House because she thought it was too small. She wanted Marlborough House, but she couldn't have it. So yeah, she was an extravagant woman. I think she knew she had a life of privilege, but I think that was balanced by a tremendous sense of duty. And I don't think the older generation are going to forget the war years and how she helped through the monarchy through the abdication crisis. All those, I think, are very, very real to a generation slightly older than yours, anyway.
Yes, yes. Well, I'm not that young. And to be fair, that we have had quite a few emails coming in from our younger viewers saying that they've seen what she's done and when she went on her walkabouts, and the very fact that she really seemed to enjoy being with people.
Oh, well, she had such a sense of fun, you see. In spirit, she was so incredibly young. I remember I was at Buckingham Palace on the 50th birthday of Prince Charles, and the whole palace was lit up. There was different music in every gallery and every room. And I was allowed to go in for about 15 minutes. And I thought, well, I must try and find the Queen Mother because I don't see her that often. And I thought, where shall I go? Where will she be? And I could hear a rock band playing in one of the rooms. And I thought, I bet she's there. And I went along, and there she was, chatting away, and this rock band were playing in the background. And that just typifies the spirit, how young she was in spirit.
One wonders how the Queen is today, though, because this is the second serious bereavement she's suffered in a matter of weeks.
Well, it's a terrible setback for her. You know, you think back to 1992, her annus horribilis. Well, 2002 is not proving that much better, is it? She's deeply, deeply upset. She's going to be spending the morning privately, as one might expect. She will be going to church, but there is a chapel within the precincts of the castle itself, so she won't be seen by the public. She's going there. While her mother's body will be taken from Royal Lodge in Windsor Great Park to the little tiny chapel that's just within Windsor Great Park, within the grounds even of Royal Lodge, and so the body will be taken there. And later this morning, at the moment at the palace, they're all meeting to decide exactly what we're going to see over the next 9 days, but broadly the funeral arrangements have been set out. I think they're mostly probably discussing the timing now. Because it's happened over the Easter weekend, things may change a little.
And for viewers who didn't catch our conversation a little earlier on in the programme, it is going to be an occasion that a younger generation certainly will have never seen before.
That's right, a lying in state. That's going to take place. The plan set out at the moment is that there'll be 5 days of family mourning. And after that, the body will be moved to Westminster Hall, and there'll be a procession to take the coffin there. So in about 5 or 6 days from now, there'll be an opportunity for the public to file past the Queen Mother's coffin. And the plan is that there should be 3 clear days for that to happen. And after that, there'll be the funeral, a ceremonial royal funeral, a very, very grand affair in Westminster Abbey. And the burial itself, the plan is, as I keep repeating, not confirmed, but will be the burial will be at Windsor, St George's Chapel. Yes. I'm pretty sure all that will stay the same.
It'll be interesting to see what the response from the public will be. It's a kind of watershed, if you like, to a formal state ceremony, the like of which we haven't seen for a long, long time. But there's an interesting email here from Alice, who's 12 years old, who said she found out about the Queen Mother's death yesterday. Wasn't too bothered as I didn't know too much about her, but after watching a programme about her last night, realised what a great person she was. It's a real learning experience.
It's a history lesson for a lot of people, isn't it?
Well, as I was saying earlier, the Queen herself felt that her mother was quite important in closing the generation gap. She said some people feel that older people have nothing to say to younger. Well, she'd always found that her mother had a very great deal to say to her.
Did she ever talk much about those historical events that really seemed to, I don't know, change everybody's lives? The abdication, the war, even up to the death of Diana. I mean, did she talk about those in public at all?
Not in public, certainly, and even in private, perhaps not a great deal. Of course, she had a very close, small circle of friends, but those that I know say that she wasn't the sort of old person who dwelt hugely on the past. She didn't keep going on about it, reminiscing, but she did tell quite interesting, funny stories. I mean, one about she remembered how straw would be outside people's front doors and the horse and cart would go by, and she would talk quite a lot about the king. You know, she'd sort of say, oh, well, I wonder what the king would have made of this. You know, 50 years on from his death.
Yes.
He was still, you know, there very much in her thoughts.
OK, Jenny, thank you very much.
Let's get the weather now. Here's Isabel Lang.
Thanks ever so much, Bill. Morning to you. We've got cloud coming in from the Atlantic today, so not quite as nice as it's been on recent days. But having said that, it's not an extensive cloud sheet, so some places may do OK and see just a little bit of brightness or possibly the odd glimmer of sunshine. But there are fronts coming in as well, so you can expect some rain. In fact, we started off pretty damp in some places this morning, especially through more southern areas of England and Wales. That damp and drizzly weather now running its way eastwards across the Midlands and into the southeast. Just a few bits and spots of rain.
Not too far away from here, but there was a very discreet entrance made, if you like, to Windsor Castle. There are lots of ways in here.